Welcome to episode 3, Financial Training for SMMEs. My name is Pradoshni Mudli. In this training, we look at why it is important for financial administration. Small businesses are often a one-man show, making it difficult to keep track of bills, expenses, and sales altogether. So, administration makes it easier to budget. If you want to apply for funding, either grant or loan funding, you have to have your finances in order. If you want to sell your business or shares, finances are required. It also helps to know the health of your business, and it's good to keep proper record keeping. And of course, the taxman. You need to be tax compliant, so you need to have your financial affairs in order to do that. Decisions to be made with regards to finances. The finances can be done by the owner. They could hire an accountant or a bookkeeper, or they can outsource it to another company. You can use spreadsheets or accounting software. With regard to the bank account you use, your business bank account, it's very important to keep your business separate from personal, because when funders are looking at your bank statements, they look at your behavior. So if they see that you're buying KFC and shoes and shopping, it really reflects badly on you and how you manage these funds. So I would suggest that when you use funds for personal reasons, rather use your personal account. And also this has an implication on tax as well. With regard to expenses. Payment methods, cash, credit cards, or EFT, cash must be deposited to show revenue on the bank statement. So if people pay you for your services using cash, it's important that that cash is reflected in your bank statement as an income. Otherwise, your income statements may show that you're earning a lot of money, but because it's cash, your bank statements show hardly any transactions. Right? It's important to record your transactions. So you could schedule daily or weekly time slots where you can update your financials. And it's important for you to review your books regularly to check the health of your business. The next slide. Advantages of doing the financials in-house. This is where the owner does the financials. It can help to save costs, especially if the business is small. You would have the knowledge of the requirements, you would understand the business health, and you can put in an hour a day just to do your finances. And also, if you have trust issues, it would be worthwhile doing it in-house. Advantages of outsourcing your financials: it could be costly, and you will not utilize the service fully if your business is too small. If you have an accountant, it's important for the accountant to explain to you what's happening, but you also need to understand finance so you don't depend on the accountant entirely, because sometimes if you give the accountant garbage, he's going to give you the garbage back and it's going to be meaningless to you. So you really need to understand the finances of the business and the information that you're giving to the accountant and what information is coming back to you so that it is usable. With outsourcing, the accountants normally have good knowledge of the requirements, especially with regard to accounting principles and taxes, and it will also save you a lot of time in terms of doing the taxes and all the compliances that go with it. Bookkeeping. So bookkeeping is the recording of all your financial transactions, and you can decide on your methods that you want to use. You can use so with regards to recording, with the cash system, you can record the transaction when money changes hands. That means you record the invoice as an expense or an income when you receive the money or when you pay the money. Then there's the accrual system. You record the transaction when it takes place, irrespective of whether the money has been received or not. So that would be the actual date of the transaction when the work was done. It's important to keep records of sales and expenses. You can use a notebook, Excel, software programs, or even your phone. There are many apps that can do that. It's important to keep the paperwork and invoices and receipts and have a proper filing system, especially for taxes. Software that can be used, you can use the Excel spreadsheet if you're a beginner. There are other software packages like QuickBooks, Sage, Accounting and Payroll, SMMEs. They cost roughly around 150 Rand a month. The features include invoicing, generating quotes, income and expense tracking, integrating with the bank accounts and other management systems. The data is usually saved on the cloud, so it can be easily accessible from anywhere. You don't need your particular computer to be able to access that information if it's on the cloud. With regards to tax, there's various taxes that business needs to pay in order to be tax compliant. There's the pay-as-you-earn tax that's paid monthly by the HR department. There's the income tax that you pay once a year, which you submit for your personal tax and your company. There's the provisional tax, which needs to be done twice a year. So it's a provisional tax for yourself and the provisional tax for the business, right? And that's twice a year. And provisional tax is paid if the tax on the main income source is not paid monthly, right? So if you're doing pay as you earn, then you just do the normal income tax. You don't need to do provisional tax. The VAT, value added tax, if your turnover is over R1 million, you need to register for VAT. Import taxes, etc., if you are importing. And then tax compliance, in order to do business, you need the tax clearance certificate, right? And I'll speak to you about that later. There are interest and penalties if you are not compliant. And taxes need to be submitted even if the business is making a loss. Okay, then there's the small business corporation tax, right? If you do your tax on the SARS e-filing, you'll find there's a little in the beginning, in the templates, it asks if you are an SBC, and you can tick that if your business's annual income is less than 20 million Rand, if your shareholders are natural persons, you don't have shares in other private companies, and less than 20% of your income is coming from investments and personal services. You can refer to the SARS website for more information on the SBC tax. The SBC system uses a sliding scale to determine your tax. So if your taxable income is below 95,000, you don't pay tax, and thereafter it's an incremental sliding scale. So overall, it helps to reduce the tax burden on SMMEs. The next slide is basically showing you what the SARS online page looks like. So if you have to submit for provisional tax, you go to provisional tax IRP6 and you open the page, you select the period and you request a return. When you request a return, it generates the tax form, and then you fill it in for that year and you submit it. It's the same for income tax as well. To know where to find your income tax file, you go to the income tax tab on the left, the ITR 14. You go to the year that you want to fill in the tax form for, and you request the return. Once you request the return, you can fill it in and submit it. And then there's also, on your left, you'll find all the histories and the returns issued. That's where all your tax information is stored. And then, of course, tax compliance. How to find if you are tax compliant, I can help you with that. As you can see, all of these tabs need to be green. If it's red, you click on it and you see what the error or what the issue is, and it will tell you which income tax or provisional tax was not filed, or if there's monies outstanding that needs to be paid. And then you can follow those processes to be tax compliant. Payroll. We all start a business to earn an income and to create jobs, right? Our income, the owner's income, is the salary. It's shown as a recurring expense. There's tax paid on that, the pay as you earn. It's not flexible even if business is bad, right? And then also there could be personal loans that you get paid as the owner's income. The owner's draw is flexible. It's based on the business performance and profits, tax to be budgeted and to be paid at the end of the year. Then there's dividends and distributions that could be paid if business was done, business was successful. There's the pay as you earn tax, which you can refer to the tax tables for those rates. Financial statements. So there's the income statement, also known as a profit and loss statement. It provides information on the value the company has created during the period. After subtracting all costs from the revenues, what remains is the value created, which is the net profit. Then there's the balance sheet. It's a screenshot of the company's worth at a particular moment in time. It includes what the company owns and what others owe it. These are called assets, as well as what it owes to others, which is the liabilities and the owner's equity. The balance sheet is stated at the end of the reporting period, while the income statement and the statement of the cash flow covers the entire reporting period. The cash flow statement is the difference between the amount of cash available at the beginning of the period, the starting cash position, and the amount available at the end of that period. In preparing business plans, it's important to include all of these financial statements, and MCorp can assist you in developing these projections, the current statements, as well as the 5-year projections. So this is what an income statement would look at. It's your sales, cost of sales, and your gross profit. Then it's all the expenses, and then your net profit, and your gross profit margin, and your break even is calculated. As we close the financial training, it's really important to consider mental health. And we all know finances can impact greatly on the mental health of small businesses. You never know when your next income is coming from. And comparing yourself to other successful businesses, especially on social media, that can greatly impact your mental health, right? Turndowns and rejections as a business owner and entrepreneur, you will get a lot of rejections. Lots of people will say no. No business, there could be months when there are no business, no income, and the business needs to be sustainable. So there are many hurdles that businesses face, especially when it comes to financials. So it's really important to consider your mental health and your stress and your physical health as well, and take care of yourself as an entrepreneur. Don't let the finances get you down and impact your business or your family or your health. When talking about finances, we sometimes include personal finance. So personal finance is how you manage your own personal account. So you could be drawing a salary from your business, but what is it that you are doing with that salary? You can treat it similarly as a business where you have your revenue and your expenses, and your net profit is obviously your savings. So would you target a savings of 20% per month, as we do in the business? It is really important for small businesses to look at savings and the different savings vehicles that are available. So you could look at investments, unit trusts, equity, money market, or tax-free savings accounts where you can save your money and allow it to grow with interest. The retirement annuity is something to look at as well. What happens when you decide to retire? Will you have enough income available to sustain you? And remember, the retirement annuity is tax deductible, so it reduces your tax payable. There's insurances to look at. That's the short-term insurance where you can insure your house and your vehicle. Then there's the long-term insurance, death and disability, income protector. What happens if you die? Does your family have enough money to sustain them? Or if you get injured or become physically disabled where you cannot run your business anymore, will you receive an income? And lastly, there's the issue of the will. What happens to your business after you pass on? So it's really important to get these aspects in place as well. So if you need any mentoring and coaching or assistance with personal finances, I can help you with that as well. We've now come to the end of this video. The training itself takes a few hours, as we normally open spreadsheets. We go onto the SARS e-filing platform, open that, and I show the mentees, all the where to access your income statement, your income returns, and your provisional tax returns. We look at the tax compliance. So the actual financial training could take a few hours to a day, just depending on what is required by the mentee. In the next two episodes, I will continue to focus on finance. I will focus on costing, pricing, income statements, break even, financial projections, cash flow statement, balance sheet, and management accounts. So please stay tuned for the next two episodes on finance. Thank you so much for joining. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and comment.